Hi Monica, thanks for joining us again. We talked about ambient kinship and polymedia in our last interview, and now I want to extend that conversation to some research we've done together. This was on a Malay community in Australia, right?
Yeah, we called it Kampung Melayu.
We called it Kampung Malay, which is a pseudonym. And we needed a pseudonym because we were talking about some pretty, let's say, socially unacceptable behaviour. Deviant behaviour. In particular, it was the behaviour of people who are kind of like outsiders in the community, wasn't it?
In the periphery, I don't know whether they're outsiders, called marginalised.
Yeah, I think
in the margins.
A better term, marginalised or peripheral characters. It was several women who had formerly been divorced, right? Or their husbands had passed away, was that right?
Yeah, so divorced, or one was never married.
Right.
But is a mum, single mum, and another one divorced, yes.
So in Kampung Melayu, there's an ideal form of womanhood, which is to be married with children or to be a grandmother with grandchildren.
Yes.
However, to be unmarried with children or to have ever been married and then divorced or even to be widowed is something of a stigma.
Yes, although widow is a little bit less than
being a single mother who's never married.
Divorced for some.
Yeah. But all these situations make you marginalised within the community, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, what we looked at was how these women used Facebook. I think we called it fight back through Facebook.
Yes.
They used Facebook to fight back. Can you remember the examples we used? What are the kinds of things how are they using Facebook to fight back?
Well, because these women are considered marginalised and deviant, they are the source of gossip, or they feel like they are the source of gossip in the community. For example, the second woman, with the fact that she's a divorcee, single, and had a baby out of wedlock with a married man, is really quite transgressive. So, of course, there were a lot of speculation who is the father, or people may know who the father is, but she used Facebook to post that it's none of their business or stop gossiping about me, that kind of post.
So a post would be like, stop gossiping about me, bitches, things like that,
Yeah,
right?
they actually use the English word bitch because they are, they're Australian citizens, although from...
and they'll have memes.
Yes.
They'll post memes. Briefly, what's a meme?
Well, there's a whole...
I'll answer the question. As I know, a meme is like just an image or
Yes.
some
Yes.
words you've got off
Yes.
the internet, like,
Yes.
The early bird
A
gets
poster.
the worm, and you got a photo of a bird with a worm.
Yeah, with a funny caption on it.
So a poster type thing.
Yeah,
You sort of poster.
you can actually have a link to my Digital Indonesia podcast all about memes.
Oh, we'll put the link up on the video.
Yes.
Right, so they're putting up memes like God frowns on people who gossip, this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, so either very religious memes, anti-gossip religious memes.
Gossip, that's fitna, that's...
sinful.
Sinful,
You
yeah.
shouldn't gossip about other people because it's sinful. But also they use like empowering kind of, almost sort of empowering female, potentially feminist, or very much with attitude kind of memes,
You go girl kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You go girl, or, a mom can also be a dad, very kind of positive memes in that way, positive kind of empowering female memes too, I suppose.
So who's reading these memes? Who's reading these posts, whether they're memes or not memes?
Well, then when you're on Facebook, you can look at the likes, the comments, and what we found was that a lot of the comments or likes come from the diaspora.
What does diaspora mean again?
So it is from this specific village of, or we call it Kampung village, of Malay ethnic community. they are dispersed. So diaspora means to
Dispersed
disperse
in
other locations. So maybe back in Malaysia or other Malay-speaking kind of communities around the region.
So they're posting from Kampung Melayu in Australia,
Yeah.
and there are people from Kampung Melayu who are in other parts of Australia, or even in other parts of Southeast Asia.
Yes.
And they're looking, and these other people from Kampung Melayu look at these posts saying, "You go, girl," or "Gossip, that's sinful."
Yes.
And they're hitting likes. Is that right? They're hitting likes.
Yes, but you can also trace that they are related. So they're part of their Facebook group, extended family members. So they're not only are they in the diaspora, but they could be second cousin, third cousin, or aunties. And then so they use. Then they're saying, your auntie in a city in Australia, we support you, or don't feel disheartened,
Is the rumour mill getting to you again?
Yes, yeah, you remember some of
I remember some of them coming back as you're talking about it. Yeah.
Even like, say hi to your parents for me, in one of them. So that like, or my big brother. So that there's that kind of extended family.
So the posts were in Malay, in English, and some of them used kind of Malay Arabic, right?
Yes.
Arabic that's kind of Malayized, sounds...
Yes, with like religious sayings.
Yeah, okay. Right, we did all that research. But what did we say the significance was? For anthropologists like us, it's not enough just to go and say, this is what we found where we did fieldwork. We have to make some sort of theoretical significance. What did we say our theoretical significance was?
Well, I think there were a couple. One is relating back to polymedia and ambient kinship, more ambient kinship really, is that they are bringing in their extended family members in the diaspora, so in other locations that the Malay community have dispersed to, into their world in this specific village. So there's that kind of kinship relation, co-present. So they're part of the drama, I suppose, the gossip drama. It's suppose if you're watching a soap opera happening and you're an audience, but then you can interact and provide advice and things like that. So they're there while the comments keep coming, or an update. And then he came back to my house and shouted at me, or something like that, And then he shouted at my mother-in-law, So then it's almost like a drama that you're part of, and as a relation, not in that space, but even overseas in Malaysia, for example.
There's a new theoretical thing there, virtual drama or ambient
drama. Yeah, interactive too. So
interactive drama.
Yeah, wouldn't you want it to look at, what's the update now? Who's how shouting at who, sort of thing. So sometimes that happens in some of the posts. So there's that kind of ambient co-present of kin.
That was one of the theoreticals.
Yeah.
Do we have another theoretical?
Yes, through the diaspora, which is the interesting part. And then and diaspora really had also its origin on forced dispersal. So now it's not so much that, but this community had sort of migration history that we call it diaspora too. So people have migrated to this village and then migrated on from this village to other parts of Australia. Yes, or overseas.
This location, I should say.
Yes.
Village is probably not the right word. This location.
Location, yes.
Yeah, and so so this is what you could call a diaspora, right?
Yeah. So there's that. So we connect the concept of diaspora with ambient co-present and then ambient kinship, because these people in diaspora are related to them. And then, so there's that, and then it's transgressive, because in a way, like the title, Fight Back Through Facebook, these are women who transgress social values, social mores. They're considered deviant because of who they are, and they also transgress the communication practices in that location, because you don't really swear in public. At least you don't swear
in this location.
This location, because it's sort of, it's against that kind of communication
norms, let's say, the norms of behaviour.
Yeah,
You don't swear
norms
out
of
loud.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't go yelling at each other.
No, but
much.
yes.
But they do on Facebook.
Yes, but and they use swear words, fuckbitch, like
So you're
really.
saying, we were saying Facebook's giving them, enabling them or empowering them to fight back against these norms which marginalise them, is that right?
Yes. So they could swear online through Facebook posts, which you wouldn't think of if you think of a pious Muslim woman, for example, or what is considered, an ideal female who is a mother and religious. So you wouldn't hear a swear word coming out of her, like in the daily life interaction, offline, but online. That is for us. That's why we're like, wow, they actually swearing,
It
because
did contrast their online persona and their offline persona seem quite to contrast each other, right?
Although in spaces of home, personal spaces, with women only, for example, maybe with their husband, I'm not sure, I'm not in that kind of personal, intimate space, but just, for example, me having coffee in the lounge room of one of this woman, they could be quite, not expletive, not to that expletive extent, but quite vocal about their feelings and anger and all of that against the other woman, or
Other women in the community.
who they think gossip about them or malign them in some way, but not to the extent of saying a swear word. So that's even one step further than if you're just having coffee with your girlfriends, and you wouldn't think if they're close girlfriends they would.
So new communicative norms, I guess, is one way of expressing it.
Yes. And then we kind of linked it to the Bedouin women's transgressive. So there's already a concept in transgressive communication in Bedouin women who are also religious and cultural, they
pious, outwardly pious.
Outwardly pious. But the Bedouin women in a book called Veiled Sentiments by Abu Lugod,
Northwest Egypt.
Yes, they use poetry. It sounds very lovely.
Love poetry, isn't it?
Yeah, love poetry, but also everyday poetry.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but the way they do it is like, say they're sweeping.
Ghinawas, is that what they're called? Can't remember what they're called.
Ghinawas.
Ghinawas, that's right.
Ghinawas, yeah. So these poetries about relationship with men. Well, they're sweeping the floor, doing their housework. They'll just be reciting poetry like you whistle or something like that. Whistling while you work. But if you listen to the content of the poetry, you're like, wow, that's not what you're supposed. You shouldn't be that explicit in talking about love or intimate relations with men, for example.
In that context,
In that context, so.
All right, well, that's been very interesting. Thank you for talking with us, Monica. We look forward to more interviews with you.
Thank you.